Ladies and gentlemen, this is Austin Diedrich coming to you live with another Sports Vival podcast. We are at Level 20 in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, and boy, do I have a couple special guests for you today. Last week, we brought you the Canadian national treasure, Nick Crane. Well, we stepped up our game this time. I have the six-time KSWA heavyweight champion, Sean Blanchard, the Enforcer, and his tag team partner, the face of Pittsburgh, Lou Martin. Gentlemen, I want to welcome you to the Sports Vival podcast. How's it going today?
Not bad.
Excellent.
Really good.
So for those out there that live under a rock in the Pittsburgh area, in the western Pennsylvania region, that have not heard of the Keystone State Wrestling Alliance, can you fill them in a little bit of what it's all about?
Yeah, the Keystone State Wrestling Alliance is an independent pro wrestling promotion based out of the city of Pittsburgh. We mainly run events in the Lawrenceville area of the city. Been in existence now just over what will be about 16 years once we hit the Abbey tournament. Done a ton of events over the years. Actually, this one in March will be our 200th event. Done a ton of fundraisers for cystic fibrosis, local cancer patients, local youth organizations, volunteer fire departments. So, I think everybody in the promotion takes pride in, what the KSWA has built in the area.
And in case you don't know, you probably would recognize his face since he is the face of Pittsburgh. That is the current Golden Triangle champion, Lou Martin, speaking right there. Sean, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, we're basically old school wrestling promotion. It's always good to get the rub from the old studio guys when you talk to them, and they talk about how the KSWA reminds them of their time during studio wrestling. So that's always a feather in our cap and something for us to be proud of.
Absolutely. I can tell you from experience. Now, the KSWA is just an incredible organization. If you enjoy wrestling, if you enjoyed wrestling as a kid, if you have children that are into wrestling, it's definitely the place to go. Where do you guys have most of your events at?
Most of our events are in the Lawrenceville area at the Teamsters Temple, right along the main drag in Lawrenceville, Butler Street. We tend to do a lot of festivals and whatnot in the area, including like the Lawrenceville Fireworks Celebration. We do Millville Days, local neighborhood celebration each year. So that kind of area is our kind of core fan base for where we have most of our events.
Sharpsburg, Plumboro.
Yeah, Sharpsburg, Plumboro.
Homestead.
Homestead, yes.
We have our second event in Homestead this year. We're really excited about that. That was a great experience last year. Had a ton of fun wrestling under the Homestead Grace Bridge. So we kind of have our core fan base, but each year we're finding we're expanding further and further to different parts of the city.
Sean, you are the six-time KSWA heavyweight champion.
Yes.
Coming up at the end of the month is the Hall of Fame show. Every year there is Hall of Fame inductees. Name some of the past inductees if you could.
Well, we have Frank Durso, Joe Abbey, who the event in March is named after, Demolition Axe, Dominic DiNucci.
The great Dominic DiNucci.
Yeah, Dominic's great.
Bruno
Sammartino, George Steele, J.J. Dillon. God, it's like a who's who of Pittsburgh studio history people.
Yeah, and that's what the KSWA prides himself at, really showing respect and appreciation for people in the pro wrestling business that have Pittsburgh roots. And that's what kind of the importance of our Hall of Fame is. And, sometimes people hear Hall of Fame and say anybody can have a Hall of Fame, but we're really focusing on the people who have Pittsburgh roots in our Hall of Fame who've kind of helped pave the way for Sean and I to do what we love to do each and every time we have an event.
And it seems like every time we induct someone into the KSW Hall, or the KSW inducts somebody into the Hall of Fame, they're seriously touched. Yeah. Last year, J.J. Dillon was almost in tears.
Yeah.
And actually, I think 2 years ago, Chuck Martoni actually was pretty teary-eyed, just was blown away by, the honor of, being inducted and someone recognizing, the years in the wrestling business that he had.
The way I look at it, man, those guys and those ladies tore the trees down, took the dirt roads and put cement on it for us to travel up and down. So it's very something special for us to do that.
Yeah, and sometimes it's also very humbling to be in the presence of those individuals who you've looked up to, you respected, and you want to kind of emulate. When you're in the ring, and at the end of the day, you want to do them proud for what you're doing in the ring and KSWA as a whole.
Which brings up my next question, Sean. You are the 6-time champion, as I said 6 times already in this podcast. How big of a thrill was it for you to beat Shane Starr the way you did last year at the Hall of Fame show? If you want to just...
You know what? It's right up there. To have J.J. Dillon in my corner during that match, I got goosebumps now just talking about it. It's growing up, I was always a huge fan of J.J. Dillon, and if you told me when I was younger that I would be friends with J.J. Dillon today, I would have told you you're crazy. But it was just a thrill to walk out with him and win it. And at the end, he embraced me and he told me how proud he was of me. And, that's something I'll keep for me to the grave. It was just a thrill, and it's amazing. It seriously is.
It was a thrill to watch, too. It was an absolute thrill to watch. Can you say what happened during the actual match, the ending? Or
somehow a bell ended up in my hand and I hit Shane Starr with it.
No, I think
the asshole is a pretty clean victory.
I thought what happened was J.J. Dillon was afraid Big Bully Busick was going to grab the bell. He threw it into the ring to get it away from him. You picked it up to show Shane what happened, and Shane headbutted the damn thing and knocked himself unconscious.
Well, we're here to tell stories. Beginning of the match, I lock up with Shane Starr, back him in the corner. Referee goes and tells us to break. I'm not listening to a referee. I jack slap Shane Starr, chip his tooth. He comes after me. I go out of the ring. JJ runs over to me. He's like, that was cute.
That was absolutely fantastic. And for me sitting there watching that, and like you said, you're a fan growing up.
Yeah.
I had posters of J.J. Dillon and the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
And now you kind of are in that network.
It's awesome.
He helped you win a championship the same way he helped Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Barry Windham, and the rest. That's unbelievable. And for a kid, I don't even know how you can explain that.
It like I said, it's the greatest feeling in the world to win a championship with J.J. Dillon in your corner and then go to the bar with J.J. Dillon and celebrate.
Oh, that was a fun night.
Yeah. Speaking of the Hall of Fame last year, Big Bully Busick, shortly after the Hall of Fame induction, he was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
Is there any updates on that?
Yeah, I mean, I know he's gone through a few surgeries and a ton of chemo sessions. So last we heard, he was starting to kind of turn the corner and kind of get some of the weight back on.
He's working out again, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, he was always known for his physique and his look, and it was amazing to see pictures from the Hall of Fame event, and then shortly after that to see how kind of skinny and sickly he looked. But he's starting to turn the corner again and get that Bully Busick look back, and that's great to hear and see because just another great guy that we've had the privilege of meeting and talking to. So our prayers are always with him and hopefully full 100% speedy recovery.
Yeah, in case you're at home and you want to check out the KSWA, it's www.kswa.net. They also are very active on social media. Lou, you have a big match coming up this month against the Latin Assassin.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's some legit heat between you guys. I follow you guys on Facebook the way most people would follow, the Steelers or anything like that. And it was just announced recently you will be facing him. Your belt is on the line. What's your strategy going into that?
It's pretty simple. I'm going to beat him like I've beaten anybody who stepped up. Last month I had to face the Pittsburgh Challenge. Defeated Tarantula. Some people say in some auspicious means, but hey, at the end of the day, I'm still holding the belt and I'm still the champion. You know, and Latin Assassin thought he could come out there and talk smack and get a match with me last month. He was denied by the greatest owner in professional wrestling, Tommy Fame, but we went crying to Bobby O and the KSWA Championship Committee, and I guess they caved in and gave him the match. So, you know, he got his match now, and I'm just going to prove I'm better than him, and you know, he could go back to wherever he's from, New York, and with his tail between his legs.
The thing with the Latin Assassin, I compare him. He's the Mayor Lemieux of the KSWA. He's injured all the time, and he's been away too long.
That's right.
You know, you always hear, I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm in the best shape of my life. But
Yeah.
2 months later, he's injured.
In
Stub
the
a toe.
In the back, Bobby O's tying his wrestling boots for him. You know, it's pathetic.
Full disclosure here, I actually went to middle school in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. And I swear to you that who was the greatest hockey player of all time, Sean? Tell
Wayne
us.
Gretzky.
Absolutely. And even back then, living in Minnesota, he had his Wayne Gretzky 99 jersey, and that is no exaggeration. I remember like it was yesterday.
Even though it's a little snugger now than it was when he was younger, he still wears that same jersey.
That's right. That's right. Speaking of the Penguins, are they going to – there's nobody better here. He's from Minneapolis, okay? You can't get any further north than that, okay? This is a northern sport. You are the face of Pittsburgh, Lou.
I am.
So
It's
there's
not Sidney Crosby, that's for sure.
– there's – exactly. Are they going to make the playoffs this year?
I think they'll probably squeak in. They don't deserve it, that's for sure. The Flyers are pretty hot right now. Detroit, I think they could turn it on. But I think they'll probably eke in, but I don't see them getting out of the first round, especially if they finish in the A spot. Washington will probably sweep them pretty quickly.
They're soft.
Yeah. I don't think that team has a heart. I think there's a lot of dissension in the locker room. They're definitely not a cohesive unit like the VIPs here. So,
I agree with you on that.
There's no doubt about
I
it.
mean, there's no more cohesive unit than us. That's for sure.
You got that right. I was going to go in another direction there, but let's talk about the Latin Assassin a little bit. The big show this month is March 26th at the Teamsters Temple in lovely Lawrenceville. And it used to be, it wasn't lovely Lawrenceville, but Lawrenceville is up and coming.
It is.
And the KSWA shows, I can only describe it in this way. It's almost old school studio wrestling meets ECW. Not in the way that it's bad wrestling with guys with weapons, because that's not what KSWA is. But the fans are very dedicated. They're
Rabid.
Rabid.
Definitely old school wrestling with the ECW fan base. You got the chanting. You got your fans in the seats. You got your crowd by the bar who are kind of your millennial hipster-y type crowd, but
your Lawrenceville crowd.
Yeah, we love them. A lot of them been faithful over the years, been to every show, but they tend to get the crowd riled up and started it a lot of the times, and some of the chants we've heard over the years have just been phenomenal. When we had Hacksaw Jim Duggan and them starting out and singing the national anthem, I mean, I've never seen anything like that, and that might be one of the funniest moments I've ever seen in my years in wrestling. So.
Absolutely. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, he actually fought our previous guest, Nasty Nick Crane, the Canadian national treasure. Yeah. That was 2014 Fan Fest.
Yeah, Hacksaw delivered a beating to Nick Crane.
Yes, he did. Yeah, and I think he beat up Mayor Mystery, too, possibly in the... Speaking of it, Mayor Mystery, I love that guy.
He's great.
He's probably the most phenomenal manager I've seen in wrestling in quite a while.
One of the best managers I think we've come across over the years. I mean, we haven't had the privilege to do a lot with them over the years, but I would rank him right up there with a lot of the wrestlers.
Yeah.
Or a lot of the managers of all time.
If he's smart, he'd get with the VIPs.
I agree. But he's got to show what's under that mask. I mean, I am the face of Pittsburgh, and I know handsome, and I'm scared to know what's under that mask.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah,
very
we can't
true.
have any Butterface hanging out with us.
Speaking of the face of Pittsburgh, last month at the show, Tarantula took it to a new level whenever he slapped you in the head
Yeah.
with a full plate of fully loaded nachos,
Yeah.
fresh from the snack bar.
Yeah.
I've never been more offended as somebody that lives in Pittsburgh, is proud to call Pittsburgh home, to see the face of Pittsburgh defaced like that. It was almost as if somebody would go into what the hell do they call that place in France where the Mona Lisa is? And take a dump right on the Mona Lisa. That's pretty much what it was for a fan like me sitting there.
You know, and I actually thought that we were going to have an insurance claim with the Lloyd's of London after that one.
Insured for $1 million with Lloyd's of London.
$1 million. And, you know, I got to the back, and, well, even before I got to the back, you know, I was asking the incompetent referee who allowed Tarantula to hit me with the nachos for one, and, you know, to make sure my face is all right. And we had
Who was the referee for that? Because we got to deal with him.
I think it was David Fedor. So,
Okay,
yeah.
noted.
Yeah, he's got a receipt coming. And then you know, you get to the back, and you know, you have my team looking at my face just to make sure there's no imperfections on it. And Tarantula was lucky because he definitely had a lawsuit coming his way for what he did. You know, not only nachos, he dumped of all beers PBR on me, which is the.
It doesn't get any lower than that.
No.
Goodness
You know,
gracious.
I'd rather him pour Stroh's on me. At least that's an upgrade. And then
Old German.
or yeah, that Rock Gut Iron City.
Oh, God.
You know, and then
We're
he-
really going to the bottom of
yeah,
the barrel
and
there.
then he hits me with some signs. Some fan had that said garbage pants, which I think there was a piece of steel inside of that garbage bag, because that hurt pretty much, and that sent me loopy for quite a few minutes.
And actually, if you're at home and you want to go on to www.kswa.net, there's a picture section. I don't know who takes the pictures for you guys, but he does a phenomenal
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, Howard Kernitz, he's a great photographer. He has a long history taking photographs for wrestling magazines all over the United States and Germany.
Yeah.
And
He
and
used to
Europe.
actually travel down in the ECW arena and take pictures down there.
Every show. So he
Philadelphia.
So he knows some crazy wrestling. So, but
He told us a story one night. He was in ECW arena, and it was Terry Funk and Mick Foley when he was Cactus Jack.
Right.
And Funk lit something on fire, like was it a baseball bat or
think it
something
was,
like
yeah.
that? And he was swinging it at Mick Foley, and some of it came down on him, and he almost got caught on fire.
Oh, gee.
So he has some good stories.
yeah, he said every time you're standing at the ring, you never knew what was going to happen. You know, during an ECW match, you always had to be
Yeah.
on your toes because things were flying.
And that's a measuring stick. He's after show's over, if he comes up to you and he says, "I got the rush," just like being in the ECW arena, then you know you had a good match.
Yeah, literally, that's one of the first people you go to. You're like, how was my match? How was the show? How'd you think?
Because he has the experience. He knows good and he knows bad.
He's, you know, and most of the times, you know, for us, he's been complimentary, which then you could kind of put a feather in your cap and say, all right, that was a good event. That was a good match. Let's be proud of that one, and let's get ready for the next one.
Sean, I'm going to jump into some things with you in the next segment, if that's okay. If you guys are willing to
Perfect.
stick around for another segment.
We'll stick around.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. But before I go to that, I just want to mention you are the face of Pittsburgh. Everybody knows that, Lou. Coming up on March 26th, there's a new wrestler in the KSWA. Everybody in Pittsburgh is aware who this guy is. His real name is Kurt Wooten, but he is well known as the Pittsburgh Dad.
Yeah.
So he came originally, I want to say it was, to the Fan Fest show, correct?
Yeah, he came. We always have, you know, some wrestling legends and try to get some local personalities. We've had Landy Fateri there many times. Actually, Landy will be there in March again.
Cool.
You know, so we had Kurt, you know, come in and as one of our guests, and he was running his mouth and kind of got involved and showed up and was part of our Battle Royal, which I think he probably got the worst beating of his lifetime in that match.
And he's been out ever since.
Yeah, and then actually, you know, he started some crap with Justin Sane and mouth off about Lord Zoltan, and now you got a big 6-man match set up for the March event. So knowing Lord Zoltan and Justin, they're not going to take it. They're not going to take what he said easy. And he's going to get an ass whooping.
I am going to talk about Justin Sane and Zoltan in the next segment, I promise. But just to let everybody know at home what happened with Kurt Wooden, the Pittsburgh dad, at FanFest was probably the greatest heel turn I've ever seen. And it was almost Hogan goes NWO, and I actually put this on the KSWA page. I'm a longtime wrestling fan, and my jaw has never hit the ground the way it did whenever he's in the ring and he's fighting. He's on the side of Justin Sane, who's a Pittsburgh guy, and he's facing off with Harley T. Morris, who is from West Virginia. Comes out to West Virginia, Mountain Mama, come on home. That is his theme song. Yeah. And
that alone should get him beat up.
Yeah. And Kurt Wooden, the Pittsburgh
H2P.
dad. Kurt Wooden, the Pittsburgh dad, climbs into the ring and takes off his shirt, and underneath there is a West Virginia shirt. And that place went frickin' crazy. Everybody already hated him because of the Pittsburgh dad being annoying. And then whenever the Pittsburgh dad climbs into the ring and declares his loyalties to West Virginia, I said, holy shit. I just couldn't believe it. My kids are like, what's the big deal? I said, you don't even know what just happened, kid. I'm going to have to talk to you on the way home.
That offended me.
Well, little did we know he had some West Virginia roots that he went to college there. So,
West Virginia University grad.
Yeah, we definitely I had no clue that he had ties to West Virginia, or I would have hit him myself.
Yeah, it was the greatest thing. I actually put on there, I said, that was freaking incredible. I never saw that coming in a million years. And that's what makes wrestling great, where the fans are always guessing and always caught off guard. Once again, I want to thank our guests here. We are going to do another segment. It's the face of Pittsburgh, Lou Martin, and the enforcer, Sean Blanchard, the VIPs, local Pittsburgh independent wrestling heroes, legends, whatever you want to call them. And we'll be back with another segment in a minute.